This film is based on a blog by Marsha Havens. Fear is a powerful motivator. It can drive us to great lengths, even to clinging to beliefs and traditions that we barely understand. Throughout history, fear has been deeply intertwined with religion, shaping its practices and doctrines in profound ways. From ancient sacrifices meant to appease wrathful deities to modern anxieties about eternal damnation, the shadow of fear has always loomed over humanity's search for meaning. But is this fear-driven approach to faith justified, or does it ultimately hinder our spiritual growth? This essay explores the unspoken anxieties that underpin many religious traditions. We will journey through history, examining how fear has shaped religious practices and how religious leaders have often used fear to maintain control. Our exploration will span across various faiths, drawing examples from diverse cultures and eras. The aim is not to denigrate religion, but to encourage critical reflection on the role of fear in our personal beliefs. The human desire for security and understanding is understandable. We crave a sense of order in a chaotic world, and religion often provides a framework for understanding our place in the cosmos. However, when this desire for security morphs into a rigid adherence to dogma driven by fear, it is time to question whether we are truly engaging with faith or simply clinging to a comforting illusion. By confronting the fear that often lies at the heart of religious adherence, we can begin to move towards a more authentic and liberating spirituality. This exploration is not about discarding faith, but about refining it. It is about moving beyond blind adherence to dogma and embracing a more personal and courageous search for truth. It is about questioning the validity of fear-based doctrines and seeking a spirituality that resonates with our deepest values and aspirations. Ultimately, this journey is about rediscovering the liberating essence of true faith, one that empowers us to confront life's uncertainties with courage and compassion. Examining historical practices reveals the profound influence of fear on religious development. Ancient cultures, grappling with unpredictable natural forces, often attributed calamities to displeased gods. Sacrifices, some human, were deemed necessary to appease these deities and avert disaster. These practices, while brutal by modern standards, highlight the very real fear that fueled ancient religious life. The fear of divine retribution is a recurring theme across numerous religions. Ancient Egyptian belief in the judgment of the soul in the afterlife, where one's heart was weighed against the feather of truth, exemplifies this. Similarly, ancient Mesopotamian texts depict elaborate underworld punishments for transgressions committed in life. These beliefs, while varied in their specifics, underscore a shared human fear of facing divine judgment after death. This fear wasn't confined to the ancient world. Medieval Christianity, for example, grappled with anxieties about sin, damnation, and the power of the devil. The fear of hellfire and eternal suffering fueled religious fervor, leading to practices like self-flagellation and witch hunts. These extreme behaviors, though shocking today, demonstrate the grip that fear held over the medieval mind. The historical prevalence of fear-driven religious practices should prompt us to examine our own beliefs. Are our religious convictions driven by a genuine desire for spiritual growth, or are we, perhaps unconsciously, motivated by fear? This introspection is not about abandoning tradition, but about engaging with it critically and honestly. We must ask ourselves, are we truly free in our faith, or are we, like our ancestors, bound by the chains of fear? The weight of tradition often reinforces these fears. Practices passed down through generations carry an inherent authority, making them difficult to question. The fear of disrupting established norms, of being ostracized for challenging the status quo, can be a powerful deterrent to critical thinking. This is particularly true in communities where religious adherence is closely tied to social acceptance and belonging. The fear of the unknown also plays a significant role in perpetuating tradition. Stepping outside the familiar boundaries of established belief can feel daunting and disorienting. The comfort of ritual, the certainty provided by dogma, can be difficult to relinquish, even when doubts arise. This is not to say that tradition is inherently negative. cultural and religious traditions can provide a sense of continuity, identity, and community. However, when tradition becomes an unchallenged dogma, a barrier to honest inquiry, it ceases to serve its true purpose. Furthermore, questioning tradition can lead to social isolation, especially in tightly knit communities. The fear of being labeled a heretic, apostate, or simply different can be a powerful silencer. This fear of social exclusion can be particularly acute in societies where religion is deeply intertwined with social and political structures. In such contexts, questioning religious dogma can have significant personal and professional consequences. Breaking free from the shackles of fear-driven tradition requires courage. It demands a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to embrace uncertainty, and to forge one's own path. It means moving beyond blind faith and engaging in an active, honest search for meaning and purpose. This journey, though challenging, can lead to a more fulfilling and authentic spiritual life. Section 4. Guardians of Dogma. Religious leaders throughout history have held a powerful influence over their followers. While many have undoubtedly been driven by genuine faith and a desire to serve, others have exploited fear to maintain control and authority. By emphasizing divine wrath, eternal punishment, and the dangers of straying from established dogma, they cultivate an atmosphere of fear that discourages dissent and independent thought. This manipulation of fear can take many forms. It can manifest in fiery sermons that paint vivid pictures of eternal damnation for those who question or disobey. It can surface in pronouncements that demonize those outside the faith, fostering suspicion and fear of the unknown. And it can appear in interpretations of Scripture that emphasize obedience and submission to religious authority over personal reflection and spiritual growth. The impact of this fear-mongering can be devastating. It can stifle intellectual curiosity, leading to the unquestioning acceptance of dogma, even when it contradicts reason or personal experience. It can breed intolerance and hatred towards those who hold different beliefs, fueling conflict and division. And it can create a climate of spiritual infantilism, where individuals are discouraged from developing their own understanding of faith and relying instead on the pronouncements of religious authorities. It is essential to remember that true faith should not require blind obedience or the suppression of critical thinking. A healthy spiritual life encourages questioning, exploring, and grappling with difficult truths. It welcomes diverse perspectives and fosters dialogue rather than division. While religious leaders can provide guidance and support, ultimately, our spiritual journey is our own. We must each take responsibility for our beliefs and seek truth with courage and an open mind. Section 5. A stifled search for truth. The reliance on fear as a tool for religious control has far-reaching consequences. It creates an environment where questioning is discouraged, doubt is equated with sin, and blind obedience is valued above critical thinking. This stifles the very essence of true spiritual seeking, which thrives on curiosity, exploration, and a willingness to grapple with life's big questions. When fear becomes the primary motivator for faith, it can lead to a distorted understanding of spirituality. Instead of inspiring love, compassion, and a desire for greater understanding, fear-based religion often manifests in judgment, intolerance, and a preoccupation with punishment. This not only harms individuals, but also hinders the evolution of faith itself, trapping it in a cycle of fear and control. The suppression of doubt, in particular, is detrimental to genuine spiritual growth. Doubt is not the enemy of faith. It is the crucible in which faith is tested and refined. It is through wrestling with our doubts, confronting our fears, and seeking answers with open minds that we deepen our understanding and arrive at a more mature and authentic faith. Breaking free from the grip of fear requires courage and a commitment to truth-seeking. It means creating space for doubt, embracing intellectual curiosity, and engaging in open and honest dialogue. It means recognizing that true faith is not about blind adherence to dogma, but about embarking on a lifelong journey of learning, questioning, and evolving. Section 6. Towards a personal faith. Moving beyond fear-based religion requires a shift in perspective. It necessitates recognizing that true spirituality is not about blindly following rules or fearing punishment, but about cultivating a deep and meaningful relationship with the divine, however we may conceive of it. It is about seeking truth, embracing love, and living a life guided by compassion and understanding. This journey begins with introspection. We must honestly examine our own beliefs, identifying any traces of fear that may be clouding our judgment or hindering our spiritual growth. We must ask ourselves, what do I truly believe and why? Am I motivated by love, compassion, and a desire for understanding? Or am I clinging to fear-based doctrines out of habit, social pressure, or a desire to avoid discomfort? Cultivating a personal faith also involves engaging with diverse perspectives. Reading scriptures from various traditions, exploring different spiritual practices, and engaging in respectful dialogue with those who hold different beliefs can broaden our understanding and challenge our assumptions. It is through encountering different ways of thinking and believing that we begin to shed the limitations of fear and embrace a more expansive and inclusive spirituality. Ultimately, moving beyond fear requires courage. It takes courage to question long-held beliefs, to challenge dogma, and to forge our own path. But the rewards of this journey are immeasurable. A faith rooted in love, compassion, and understanding is a powerful force for good in the world. It empowers us to live with greater purpose, to connect with others more deeply, and to approach life's challenges with greater resilience and hope. For more, visit Reverend Rachel Love's site, reverendlove.org.